It's been a while since my last tutorial, but I'm going to show you how to create this effect in Cinema4D. I think it's a pretty cool effect. It's like a kind of lie detector machine Richter scale effect where we've got this pin drawing onto a moving cylinder, and it's kind of and it's actually pretty easy to do. So I'm just going to start from scratch, and we're just going to create this new project. Just make sure I've got everything turned on. Okay, so a fresh scene, and first I'm going to create a polygon like this one here. I like to work in hidden line. It's quite a cool mode. So anyway, first I create a polygon, make it editable, and I'm going to combine these two vertexes. I'm going to go into vertex mode. By the way, I hit C to make it editable. Went into vertex mode, and now I'm going to right click and weld these 2 points together. Hit select, space to select, drag these two back slightly and just scale them in. So now we've back to object mode. Now we've got this pin that I'm going to use to draw onto the cylinder. So I'm just going to reset the pivot. So click here to go into pivot mode, and then just pull that pivot back slightly. So if I rotate this, it's going to kind of move from the back, which is what we want. I'm just going to call this pin, and now I'm going to add a vibrate tag and enable rotation. And if I play this back now, it basically does this kind of random rotation, which is pretty cool. And this is what's going to draw the line, basically the tip of this pin. Okay, so I'm just going to move that up slightly and create a cylinder now that we're going to draw onto. X, orient that along X or minus X, and I'm just going to scale that up slightly and make it bigger maybe. So what we want is a cylinder and a pin. I might actually just shrink this pin down, and I'm just going to go into the side view because I want this pin just touching the surface. We put it right about there, centered. So this is the kind of layout. The tip of the pin's kind of pretty much centered with the cylinder. Okay, so I'm just going to play that back. Okay, looking good. Now I'm going to animate the cylinder, rotate it slightly. So it's not the B rotation, it's P for pitch, I think. So I'm just going to add a keyframe here, and then just go to frame 120, or whatever frame range you want. 180. Shall I make it 360? I'll just make it 180. So yeah, I've got this kind of bit of rotation going on. I think that's in the right direction, yeah. Okay, so back to frame 1. Now I'm going to create a null. This null we're going to use with a tracer object, but this is like basically the null I'm going to use to draw the line. So I'll just call this draw null here, and I'm actually going to create another null, and this is just going to be the espresso layer. So call that espresso and add an espresso tag. This is where I'm going to put all my code. That's the actual draw null. So what I want to do is I want to attach the draw null to the tip of this pin. So whenever the tip of the pin moves, this draw null is going to follow it. That's the idea. So just go into Espresso. Very simple to do with Espresso. I'm just going to drop in the pin. I'm going to drop in the draw null, and just make them slightly larger. Now I'm going to also use a node Espresso general point. What point does is, whoops, get rid of that. If you choose object for pin and then connect the object node from the pin to the object node on point, you can basically get the individual vertex positions on this pin. So like that's 0.0, that's 1, and that's 2, I think. but you can basically attach objects to the vertex points of an object. So just gonna get the draw null coordinates, global position should work, yeah, so the point position, link that to the global position, and that should be it actually. And it just happens to be the right vertex. Look, if I go to 1, attaches up there. If I go to 2, it's that vertex. So I'm actually just going to change the settings of the draw null. I'm going to make it a circle. I'm going to make it red so you can see it clearly like that. So now if I play this back, yay, we've got this draw null that attaches to the tip of the pin. Now I think it's kind of lagging slightly, and maybe if I make this priority 1, I think there was a trick to. Oh yeah. Now it's exactly on the tip. I don't know why, but sometimes if you go into the Espresso tag and then make the priority higher, it can kind of fix these lagging problems. Like, look, when the priority is 0, the null seems to lag behind the pin tip. I put it to 1 and it seems to snap to the tip of the pin perfectly. Don't know why. If anyone can explain it, explain it in the comment section. It'd be appreciated. Anyway, it's just one of those things. Okay, so all that's left to do is now create a tracer. I've got the tracer object here, and we're just going to drop the draw null into the tracer. So as you can see, I'm just going to turn off axis. It's kind of getting in the way. Is it world axis? No. And this kind of, yeah, axis just turned off so we can see it. So you can see the tracer drawing something there, except we want it to kind of travel along the cylinder, don't we? At the moment it's doing what we want, but it's kind of staying in the same place. And this was the tricky bit. It took me ages to figure this out, but basically what we want to do is, just go back to frame 0, the tracer has a pivot as well. You might not believe it, but oh yeah, luckily, sometimes the pivot's like over here, but luckily in this case it seems to be perfectly centered, which is good. So I think as long as we want it perfectly centered with the pivot of the cylinder. That's crucial. So sometimes what you can do is, if you go to snapping mode, there's actually if you choose 3D snapping, you have to go enable snap, 3D snapping. There's a axis snap, which is really handy, and you can basically, we can take the tracer pivot and it should snap to the axis of the cylinder just automatically. I can't really see any. Oops. Oh, it's not. That's annoying. Should snap. Or, do you know, maybe it's because it's a parametric object. Okay, so I'm just gonna, Jesus, cancel that. Okay, I'm just gonna risk it. Anyway, I think you have to basically collapse this to an editable object to use the pivot snap. But anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead anyway. Because once you know the theory, you'll be able to kind of fix this yourself anyway. It should work, even if the center is not perfect. But anyway, so the next stage, we just want to go back to the Espresso tag and drop in the cylinder and the tracer. This is the final stage. Just trying to keep this tutorial really simple. And it's basically just 5 nodes, and we're going to create the animation I showed you at the beginning. Just sipping my tea. So basically you want the cylinder rotation P, the global rotation P, to drive the tracer global rotation P. And just a simple link. And that should be it. If I play this back now, yes, it's working. As you can see, it's basically, it's like lines getting drawn on the cylinder, on the surface of the cylinder, and that's the effect, ladies and gentlemen. Lastly, as you can see, actually I might just put a display tag in here. If you can use the display tag to kind of shade certain objects differently, which is really cool. Like this is shaded in hidden line, and this one's in using Gorad shading. Don't know how you say that, but yeah. So basically, you can see it more clearly. I'm just going to turn off the draw null. Yep. So you can see the line getting drawn onto the surface. Pretty cool effect. Pretty simple as well, and hopefully it's something unique, like a unique tutorial that you won't find anywhere else on YouTube. I've never seen this effect. It's kind of a cheat because the tracer is not actually attached to the surface. It's just it kind of looks like it's kind of doing some like complex surface attachment, but it's not. It's just simply rotating the same speed as the cylinder. That simply just gives the illusion of like drawing onto the cylinder, but it's actually doing nothing that complicated. Then, as you can see, there's a gap here, so to close that gap you can just simply enlarge the cylinder a bit more, just scale it up, and yeah, so it looks pretty much like it's tight on the surface. And then finally, to render this, there's two ways we can render the tracer. You can use a hair object. If you're kind of lazy, you just go create shader hair material, drag and drop that onto the tracer, and you can instantly kind of render that tracer. You might want to turn off specular, play with the settings, but basically, yeah, it's not very bright, is it? I think turn off. Oh yeah, the thickness. You want to make sure the root and tip have the same thickness, and then the color. I'm just gonna make it black. There you go. And obviously you want to turn on anti-aliasing, best, and then hair render, AA quality, best, which should give much better result. Anyway, method number 2 is select the tracer object, go to sweep NURBS, and while holding down Alt, select sweep NURBS, which will automatically, if you hold down Alt, makes tracer a child of the sweep NURBS just automatically. It's one of those shortcuts. Add a circle in there, reduce the circle's radius quite a bit, and as you can see it creates an actual geometry, so you don't need the hair shader. You can just create like just normal material, drop that on the sweep NURBS. I'll make this material black and render, and you can see the line, and I don't want the specular on the material, and I might reduce the circle radius down to 0.2 or something. And I think my cylinder's slightly too big, so it's kind of eating into the, yeah, there we go. So we got that line visible. Whoa, don't know what's going on there. Look at this. It's one of those glitches. That is crazy. I do not know what's going on here. Tracer out. Yeah, it's the sweep NURBS is doing something. But yeah, if you just take out the tracer, maybe best use a hair material then. We can see it working again. I think it's something to do with basically how we're rotating the tracer's axis. Kind of got it wired perfectly to the cylinder. I think once you put it in the sweep NURBS, it becomes like a new kind of geometry, which is causing like problems, because it's like trying to rotate the tracer axis, but it's like at the same time it's the sweep NURBS has its own axis as well, so it's definitely something to do with that. But yeah, I hope you like this effect, and please subscribe, share this video, and thanks for watching.